It's safe to say I stand with a number of folks that were bothered by the $20 DK Island plus Emerald Rush DLC for Donkey Kong Bananza. You get one single layer and a roguelike mode. Some rudimentary math from the base game's price and number of layers concludes that an average layer is worth about $4, meaning a hefty $16 from your wallet is investing directly into the roguelike mode, Emerald Rush. That's a lot of weight to pull, and a roguelike? Some of the best games are roguelikes, but you have to trudge through that randomness. I was debating with myself when the initial reports came out. Turns out DK Island was devoid of any new gameplay concepts. Mostly just a bunch of Easter eggs and a foundation for Emerald Rush. Then the level select for Emerald Rush popped up, and you can only play on 6 of the game's 17 layers? What? That's not good. And with that, it really started to look like a ripoff, a snake oil salesman ravening on all the goodwill they earned from my first playthrough. So despite my enamorment with Bananza, I decided to pass. I knew there would be Emerald Rush defenders eventually. What I did not expect was for them to win me over. The DLC actually feigns half the courses as unplayable until you reach the halfway mark, which wasn't smart. Secrets are great, but DLCs are notorious for skimping out on content and gamers are tired of being ripped off. But what really won me over was consensus from buyers that the mode was actually difficult. Wait, I thought the main game was a little easy. I want to test my skills. But I was still a bit unsure. Does this mode adequately test your skills? Sure, it's difficult, but did it earn that difficulty? Well, so far, it has been yes, with some flaws. Let's talk about it.
Boom.
Particular.
Mushroom.
Emerald Rush wastes no time rushing you into things. You're dropped into the first stage with a short list of instructions, and the game lets you loose. They don't mention this as a low-stakes, controlled environment, which is actually great as it gives even hardened veterans some tension before they realize they were never going to lose this one. But this sets the stage for every preceding Emerald Rush. Each run plops you down into an existing layer exactly as it was, hideaways and shortcuts included, which is a subtle validation of your completed save file. All the Banandium gems and fossils are repopulated, and all the gold is turned into emerald. Your goal over several rounds, depending on the difficulty, is to simply amass as much emerald as you can. You really can just run around and mine out the entire landscape if you want, but the mode adds 2 new wrinkles to iron out. One, once the clock reaches 50 in round 1, Void will constantly phone in an optional goal for you to complete. Often it's, go over here, there's an emerald enemy or chunk to destroy. But occasionally a silly detour will be thrown in, like high five Cranky Kong or go for a swim.
Oh, guess I'm already in the water.
You'll get some emerald for completing these tasks, but the real reason to seek these out is for the perk. Which leads to 2. There's not enough emerald in the stage to reach the final quota. Yeah, that's a big number. To help get there, you'll need perks. Finishing a task, but also collecting a fossil or glowing banana, you select a perk from a random selection of 3. There are some straight upgrades, like a purple warp barrel that helps you move around the world faster, but most of these perks are gonna increase your multiplier. If you meet the condition on the perk, the emerald you would have gotten will be multiplied by that amount. And these all stack. So for example, if you have the fastball beat and hang time beat, you're gonna wanna beat enemies by jumping midair and then throwing, which is not the easiest thing to aim. So you can see the gameplay loop folding out here. Rack up as many perks as possible and then chain them together to cash in for some serious emerald. But you also have to go as fast as possible because you're on that time limit. And since you get a new task a mere couple seconds after finishing the prior one, there's no limit to your potential optimization. The last thing to note is that you have an increasing quota to meet every round or your run fails. More on that in a bit, but that's otherwise all there is to it. However, because the perks you receive are random, there's the roguelike snaking in there, your playstyle can completely change run to run. One run you're zebralining as many goals as possible, and other times you're on a mining expedition to uncover melon juice cans. Seriously, that multiplier is nuts. And due to the roguelike nature, your strategy can shift mid-run. Glitzoid Demolisher is cool, but once it's demolished, I guess this perk is worthless? No need to stack that anymore. Block it. Okay, cool. We're picking up perks, completing goals, and molding our playstyle to suit our loadout. Sounds good, but does this setup actually deliver that $16 we spent on it? Yes it does. There are 7 difficulty levels, and the highest one is Ruthless. The bloated quota puts pressure on every single round. Sometimes I net a breakout haul that keeps me safe for a couple, but the quota quickly catches up again. You have to do well the whole time to even have a shot at winning. And I have not had a single successful run less than 45 minutes long. That is a serious length of time to be locked in while playing at peak monkey business. Not even including when you fail 30 minutes in and really want to try again. And with the random nature of the perks, you are encouraged to try playstyles completely foreign from the base game. Get on a higher ledge than the target? That's funny. How about throw a chunk in the air above specifically a crocoid while in Kong Bananza form, and also full health? You are really testing the tenacity of your skills here. And if somehow you craft the magic combination of skills to obliterate the quota, there's a secret ranking to go for. V rank. Get it? Because Void Kong? Gosh, what an inflated ego, this guy. V rank is the ultimate challenge of Donkey Kong Bananza. The consensus seems to be a whopping 10 times the combined total quotas, to the tune of 5 million emerald. As of writing, I have not gotten a single one. What do you mean, particular mushroom? This is easy. My guy, that is difficulty 2. So yeah, this mode has the content. While artistic value can override, generally speaking, I equate a good value to 1 hour of playtime for every $1 spent. Unless you are absolutely perfect absolutely 100% of the time, Emerald Rush easily smashes the full $20 barrier. In fact, I think the Hilltop layer alone will dial in 20 plus hours for me. This one is tough. How do you even V-rank this? Unfortunately, we run into some issues with V-rank. Now, I am glad it is in the game, but it might be best for your sanity if you let A rank be good enough. I found A rank to be a practical and fair challenge, for all the reasons we just mentioned. V rank, by contrast, acts like a glitch in the system. To help explain, let's talk about my 2 favorite perks: Superior Smasher and Banana SLAMMA! These perks are simple, increasing the emerald drop from structures and banandium gems respectively. Having a high level of these is hilarious. The cathartic dopamine from smashing a barrel and instantly bathing the screen in green shinies while fancy numbers dance and the game lags, it's unmatched. My first instinct is to swipe these 2 perks anytime they show up in the roulette. That, however, is gonna cost you V rank. The first issue is their limited supply. Void Kong can dial in an endless barrage of crocoids, squealoids, and feet monsters into battle, but when crates are gone, they're gone. So the optimal play is to hoard these perks until the last few rounds when your multiplier is the highest. Problem is, you gotta meet that quota along the way. Every Banana SLAMMA is a lost slot that could have had a more useful perk now. Or if you do end up cracking some bananas, you can fulfill the current quota, but that's less money you can collect later. But okay, let's say you do manage to keep most of the emerald roots, barrels, and crates intact while scraping by the quota each round. I did that. By round 13, I had 15 Superior Smashers, and basically went around the island igniting every single structure I could find. I had so much fun, but it wasn't enough, wasn't even halfway there to V rank. The issue, as I figured out, was a lot of these perks specifically mention after defeating an enemy. There are some exceptions like Turf Groove, but generally speaking, nothing stacks with Superior Smasher. I would have no problem swinging a chunk at a barrel for a multiplier, but it's not even an option. And the problem on top of that is the sheer number of enemy-related perks dilutes the pool to where thinning them out is basically impossible. It seems these 2 perks were meant to be early game upgrades to pass early quotas, but not launch you into the stratosphere. And overall, the perk pool is all sorts of unbalanced. This is unfortunately a roguelike problem, but it's just so weird here. You can block perks for 1 attempt, then they all reset. Except you unlock new perks by advancing in Void Co rewards, meaning the Superior Smasher build is more viable as a low-rank employee. Dealing with the perks you're dealt is fine, but there's just so much incompatible stuff with the build you're going for. Like drop and beat is literally incompatible with wind up beat. I understand I maybe haven't figured everything out yet, but it really seems like V rank forces you to a niche strategy. But niche strategy kind of breaks the whole idea of a roguelike? Noita is one of my top roguelikes. To keep things vague for spoiler reasons, there's more you can do than just go straight down. But a bunch of alternatives require some sort of digging tool, which you have to randomly manage to stumble upon. Emerald Rush is the same. Yes, if I stack Peekaboo Demolisher, I can easily cheese the Lagoon layer for V rank, but I cannot force that perk to show up. One more anecdote. You may have noticed the 9 Crocoid Demolishers in that one clip. I managed to croc one Krakoid for times 24,564, and then the game never gave me a single Crocoid for the rest of the run. I understand these things happen, but my point is, it seems like I can't force V rank. I have to kinda hope I get gifted the right setup that completely breaks the system such that V rank was inevitable. It's like hunting gold crowns in Monster Hunter, except you need to beat the monster first before you know the size. Obviously skill plays a lot into it, and I might not be at the correct level, but I've tried so many strategies and they've all come up majorly short. Not even close. Not sure why. A rank is a great test of skill. I just wish V rank felt that way too. There are other smaller issues, like goodness, I spend so much time staring at the map. There's a trick here where the direction you're facing in the map is the same direction you'll face when you close the map. So for maximum efficiency, I find myself teleporting to a location, opening the map, and spinning it around so I know exactly where I'm going. The map is quite helpful to take some of the heat off, but relying on it is gonna inflate your runtime. Would I like to keep the menus closed more? Yes, but it's a worthwhile trade-off. I cannot say the same about this problem. The math. Okay, not that, but it is funny, I have actually brought out the calculator for some of these.
So that's just straight up like 200 versus 31 times 8. Yeah, that's better.
No, the thing that really irks me is the difficulty settings. There is no acknowledgement of a V rank after the run. Instead, you fully complete a layer by individually completing every difficulty level. Seems Nintendo, too, thinks V rank is a bonus rather than a goal to strive for. But there's a serious failing here. If you notice, the only thing that changes with the difficulty is the number of rounds, the quota, starting resources, and rewards. None of these affect the stage itself. I see no visible difference between difficulty 6 and 7, except a small number taking up 1% of the screen. That means difficulty 7 supersedes every difficulty before it. Once you are comfortable with the layer and with difficulty 7 in general, there is little reason to bump down ever. But a fix is so easy. If, for example, difficulty 5 leaned towards Ostrich Bananza perks, then a V rank there would prove my mastery of the Ostrich Bananza. But as is, V rank on difficulty 5 is exactly the same as halfway to V rank on difficulty 7. To hit this point home, imagine getting the 5 million emerald in difficulty 6. If you had simply picked 7 instead, chances are you would have gotten that V rank. It's a bummer. A few tweaks and I would have had something else to do besides redoing difficulty 7 over and over. But as it stands, I don't see it worth playing other difficulties on the off chance that this is the run the perks roll my way. That said, I'll admit difficulty options are good, so players can ramp up at their own pace. And to end on a positive note, the music is incredible. I vibe with it every run, and the beat services the fast-paced action quite well. Also, it's catchy as bananas, been stuck in my head for the past 2 weeks. So, in the end, is DK Island plus Emerald Rush worth getting? I'd say yes, if one of the two things are true. Either you really like roguelikes, or you're looking for a challenge the main game just didn't offer. It is an excellent addendum with hours of content and loads of fun moments. Monkey-like number go up, after all. There was clearly a lot of care that went into this DLC, but unfortunately it does fall into the limitations that other roguelikes do. V rank can keep you occupied for a long time, but the gatekeeper can unfortunately be luck rather than skill. However, if you just focus on A rank and float with the tide rather than fighting against it, you'll have a great time. Thanks for watching. I was genuinely surprised just how much I wanted to discuss in this DLC, but I'm really aiming for that 10-minute mark on the Extras channel. I would like to get to a weekly upload schedule, but there's no way that happens if these videos keep pushing the envelope. However, if you would like a full main channel video on the subject, like, maybe comment. If number go up enough, then we will definitely do it. I have a lot more to say. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.